Welcome to the Just Nuke It podcast. Are you ready for another apocalyptic probe into the wild world of end-of-days scenarios?
You know it.
We're diving deep into these thrilling tales of, well, total annihilation from the world of flash fiction, but forget those dry documentaries and scientific journals.
Yeah.
We're going to unpack these stories with all the intensity of a summer blockbuster.
Buckle up, everyone.
So today, we're going to look at two gripping flash fiction stories. The first story throws us headfirst into a world teetering right on the brink of an asteroid impact.
Well, yeah, classic.
But there's a twist. The authorities are actively trying to hide the truth. You know, keep the masses in the dark, that sort of thing.
Classic government cover-up. Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Totally. And the focus of this story is this rebellious teenager who takes matters into her own hands. Think fast-paced action, desperate plans, and a whole lot of code.
She's fighting the system, and she's fighting the apocalypse. Double whammy.
Exactly. And our second story shifts gears. It takes us to an entirely different kind of apocalypse. The slow death of the sun.
Whoa. Okay, that's a whole other level of bleak.
Right. We're going to follow this group of scientists on a last-ditch mission to reignite our dying star.
Talk about pressure.
You know, it's a story about scientific desperation, but also it's about the enduring human spirit.
I love that juxtaposition.
Yeah.
So you've chosen these two very different yet equally compelling scenarios. You're clearly fascinated by how humanity responds to these existential threats, whether it's a giant space rock hurtling towards us or the very star that gives us life slowly fading away.
Absolutely. And that's what we're going to unpack today. Let's delve into what makes these stories tick.
Let's do it.
All right. Let's start with our first story, Project Icarus Fail. So the basic premise is this. We've got this authoritarian regime called, ominously, the Authority.
Whoa.
Right? And they know about this asteroid that's going to hit Earth, but they're keeping it a secret from everybody. What strikes me immediately is this double threat thing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You've got the impending natural disaster. That's scary enough on its own. But then you layer on this cover-up.
Right.
The authorities' suppression of information. Their abuse of power. That creates this whole other level of danger. It makes you think, doesn't it? About how a lack of transparency and trust in our leaders, especially during a crisis, can be just as dangerous as the crisis itself.
It totally does. And then you have our protagonist, Z. She's this teenage hacker.
Love her already.
Right. And for Z, the authorities' control over her city, the constant surveillance, it's like living in a sanitized prison.
Right.
Her hacking isn't just some abstract way of saving the world.
Yeah.
It's a direct response to the injustice that she and her community are forced to live under.
Makes it personal. Very personal.
And she's not alone, right? The story introduces this team she works with, and it's not your typical hero squad.
Underdogs assemble.
Totally. We have Pax, who's this former astrophysicist, but now he's dealing in black market tech. Like, he's seen the system from the inside, and now he's working against it. Then you've got Flick. The story describes him as a nervous genius who can boost signals, which is crucial to their whole operation.
Okay, I see where this is going.
Yeah.
And they're all working outside the system, right? It really makes you think that sometimes the solutions, the heroes even, come from the most unexpected places, the people on the fringes.
Exactly. And their plan, oh man, their plan, it's audacious, like mind-blowingly audacious.
Lay it on me.
They're going to hack into the authorities' network of government satellites.
Whoa.
Turn those symbols of control into a makeshift shield to vaporize the asteroid. It's not just one system. They have to coordinate this entire network of satellites, hundreds of them.
That's a lot of code.
And they're using a self-built virus, which Z describes as this, well, beautiful, destructive beast.
I'm getting chills already.
You can really feel that tension, you
Yeah.
know? As Z unleashes this virus, knowing that if it fails, it could be a total catastrophe. But the alternative is even worse. It's total annihilation.
You've got this incredible contrast going on, right? Z and her team are working feverishly in their hidden workshop, and meanwhile, the authority is broadcasting this propaganda.
Oh, yeah.
These bland, soothing tones, trying to maintain this facade of normalcy. It's a lie, of course, and everyone knows it.
Makes you think about how controlling the narrative can be just as important as dealing with the actual problem.
Absolutely. And then you've got Benji, his younger brother, and his excitement as each satellite comes online is just infectious.
I love how he keeps updating them. Satellite 52 is online. These small victories against all odds, they really keep you hooked.
Just like a countdown, but in reverse.
And then we reach the climax.
Here we go.
The satellites are in position, but they're straining, these rusty gears whining in protest, like they're barely holding it together. You can practically hear the energy crackling through their makeshift network.
It's a last-ditch effort, a cobbled-together defense against a cosmic bullseye.
And the asteroid, which was this distant speck, is getting bigger and bigger, closer and closer.
So what happens? Tell me.
It's impact time. You're bracing yourself for this devastating collision, and then instead of an explosion, there's this flash of light.
Right.
This shimmering effect as the asteroid, well, it doesn't hit Earth directly. It fragments into these harmless pieces. And Z collapses, just overcome with relief, this wild and hysterical laughter. It's like all that tension just explodes outward.
Oh, I bet they did it. They actually hacked the apocalypse.
They did. But even though they saved the world, Z, she's looking at the dissipating glow, and the story says her fingers are itching to type. You get this feeling that their fight against the authority, that's not over.
That's the thing, right? Even with this huge global threat averted, the underlying conflicts, the fight for freedom and justice, that doesn't just vanish. It's a reminder that sometimes the biggest battles aren't fought in the stars, but right here on Earth.
So true. Okay, ready for a complete gear shift. Let's talk about before the long night. This story deals with a totally different kind of apocalypse. The slow, inevitable death of the sun.
Oh, wow. That's heavy.
Right. And our central characters are this team of scientists led by Dr. Anya Petrova. Their mission is to reignite the sun. Can you imagine that kind of pressure?
Oh, my gosh. Just the sheer scale of that problem.
Right. The story highlights this through Anya's calculations. Her math is flawless, but it's filled with this grim acceptance of the situation. There's this sense of scientific rigor mixed with an understanding that the clock is ticking.
And then there's Jamie, right? This young astro engineer, brilliant, but also kind of a smart aleck. He throws out this line about needing a fusion reaction the size of Jupiter, and that says, Kickstarter ain't gonna cut it, Doc.
I love that line. It's like this dark humor in the face of this unbelievably huge problem. And again, the story emphasizes that they're a ragtag mix of scientists and engineers. It's like when the sun is dying, you need all hands on deck, even if they're from different disciplines, even if they don't always see eye to eye. It's all about collaboration in the face of this massive existential threat. And the sun, it generates energy through nuclear fusion, this incredible process. And this story imagines a scenario where that process starts to fail,
leading to a slow cooling, a gradual dimming, the end of life as we know it. It's a slow burn apocalypse, but an apocalypse nonetheless.
It really makes you think about our dependence on the sun.
Right. The story really underscores how fragile life on Earth is, and their solution, their big plan. It's called Project Icarus.
It's a pretty desperate plan.
Oh, tell me more.
They're taking this old mining ship and retrofitting it with all this cobbled together tech, stolen fusion material. It really shows how far they're willing to go. Like in normal times, stealing that fusion material would be a huge crime. But these aren't normal times.
No, not at all. The rules change when the sun starts to die. I love that detail about how Anya, she starts as this logical, equation-driven scientist. But then, as they're launching, she looks back at Earth. She sees it shrinking, fading into the distance, and then she sees the fear in Jamie's eyes. And something changes in her. It's like this realization that this mission isn't just about numbers and data, it's about saving humanity.
It becomes personal. It's not just a scientific problem anymore.
The launch scene itself is so well written. It's described as this, like a mess of bootstrap welding and recycled prayers. This makeshift vessel, the Icarus, ascending into this chilling twilight, leaving behind this Earth that's literally dying.
And those stubborn lights on Earth, those little defiant sparks, as if humanity is refusing to go quietly into the night. It's a powerful image.
It's like even though the sun is dying, there's still this spark of hope, of defiance in those little lights.
Then they finally reach the sun. And it's not this blazing ball of fire anymore. It's more like a sullen red coal.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about that.
And Jamie activates his fusion drive, this miracle of duct tape and desperation. But for a while, nothing happens.
Oh, no.
The sun stays this dull ember. And Anya, you can see her struggling. She's this brilliant scientist. But her theory, it seems to have failed.
So heartbreaking. You have to admire her resilience, though, right?
Absolutely. And then, just when all hope seems lost, they get a signal. It's from Earth. Just the simple message, we're still here.
Wait, so it wasn't the sun?
No, they didn't reignite the sun. The signal is coming from Earth. They've rigged their power grids, their remaining satellites, to send this message across the vastness of space.
That's incredible. I mean, the sun is dying, and they're focused on sending a message. It's not just about survival, it's about connection. about letting anyone know that they're still there. It's so human.
I know, and Anya, she realizes that their mission wasn't really about reigniting the sun.
It was about something more.
It was about being that spark, about igniting humanity's resilience, this unbreakable will to survive, even in the face of complete darkness.
So they didn't fix the problem, but they sparked something even more powerful.
The story puts it beautifully. It contrasts the predictable laws of physics with the messy and irrational ways science could never quantify of human survival.
And in the end, the Icarus turns back towards the dying sun, but now they have new data, a new mission.
They're going to collaborate with the people on Earth, those stubborn lights in the darkness.
I love that. So, two stories about facing the end of the world. One with a rebellious fight against a space rock and a controlling government, the other with a dying sun and this incredible display of human connection. What really stands out to you about how these stories portray humanity's response to total annihilation?
It's the contrasting but also complementary approaches to survival. In Project Icarus Fail, we see this proactive defiance. It's about using technology, about rebellion, about fighting back against both the external threat and the oppressive system that's trying to control them.
And in Before the Long Night, the resilience is more internal. It's about connection, about refusing to give up, even when facing the literal extinction of life's source. It makes you think about where our true strength comes from. Is it our ability to innovate, to create technology, or is it our capacity for connection, for perseverance?
These flash fiction stories might be short, but they raise such huge questions about courage, about community, about how we might face those ultimate challenges. What parts of these apocalyptic probes really resonated with you? And what other questions do these end-of-world scenarios raise in your mind about how we might face the unknown?
Food for thought, right.
Absolutely. We hope this apocalyptic probe into the Just Nuke It podcast has sparked some interesting ideas for you. Rate and follow for more thrilling tales from the edge of oblivion.